build my gallows and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. I want the chance to spit in his eye.
Hello everybody, welcome to Shortbangers. I'm Matty. I'm joined tonight by John and by Colin. Colin, how you doing?
I'm good, mate. It's nice to come first to me. Normally go to John. So it's nice wee change.
You were first on the call today, so I thought I'll come to you first. Good to hear that you're doing well. John, how are you?
I was going to say that I was titillated having seen a video of a seagull stealing a croissant earlier, but now I'm just disappointed because I'm second.
Did it scan the croissant in a burner?
Do you remember? So I think the infamous footage is the seagull that grabs the packet of Doritos and it just like scoots straight out the shop. It was probably a video with less quality on it, and there wasn't a hell of a lot to look at either. So it was just kind of like in its gob, and I didn't really see the aftermath.
If you're that pigeon, seagull. What was it? Did you say seagull? Text in 80295 with your wee blinky eyes. And let us know, did you enjoy that breakfast pastry? Right, anyway, first question of the night, we'll get stuck right in. Fats Prickus, because we have got a lot of questions. I should say this to start off with. We've got a lot of questions tonight. We might not get them all. So if you've sent in a question, we will get to it eventually. You'll maybe hear it in our subscription one, or it may be next week before you hear it. But we will get to it. We've got fucking tons of them. Anyway, right, Fats Prickus. Daughter Prickus is halfway through her sausage roll, making a big mess of the car, the bastard, and said, Daddy, why do we call it ours and not ours? I'd normally respond with just because, but might need to call in Longbangers. What's the point in silent letters?
I don't know. We've had a similar. No, we know they obviously articulated well the question, but we've definitely spoken about silent letters and we've done the phonetic alphabet thing, like P for phone and all that kind of stuff, haven't we?
Yeah.
But I still don't know what the point in a silent letter is. I don't know if it ever answered it.
And do you know, it's not even like they've got it in words that could do with it. So if you take live or live, right? It's the exact same word, we write it down. Read and read, right? Yeah. One of them could do with a silent letter so you could tell them apart. But they don't have them. And then words that didn't need them have got them. So I think somebody's just been having a fucking laugh with it.
Aye. What's your opinion, John, on this?
I was just thinking about read and read because I didn't get me wrong, like I'm no particularly clued up about like verbs and nouns and what have you, but you read something, but once when you read something, you've read it. Like it's this that makes that particular example all the more infuriating.
See things like your Siri and that, or your Apple Watch. I think it's Siri still on the Apple Watch. Like these kind of things. If it was just given a sentence to say out, or any of these voice activated things, how would it know to say live or live? Or read or read? No, because of the words. There's a context that actually knows the context.
Yeah, they must have to program context into it, which is why we don't need the silent letter, because we learn the language and we know the context of it, so we know which one to pick. But it would help, wouldn't it? For folk who maybe aren't so good.
In that example, when we're saying living live, hours and hours there. So hours is already a word, as in. It belongs to us. Ours.
Aye, it's ours.
Aye. So it's a word. It's not like we're making a new word up here. Like they've just added an H for no reason.
Yeah.
So see Reid, go back to that. You've also got the surname Reid, R-E-I-D, and they're both pronounced the same way. And you could argue that the A and the I, the two, like at least one vowel in both words is silent, but neither of them do anything to improve.
Double E, by the way, in the surname Reid.
Oh, Reid, yeah, no, you're right. So there you go. There's, fuck, that's just stupid. How do we change it? Like, what sort of additional letter do you add in there when there's already letters that are completely surplus to requirement?
I wonder if it will just happen naturally, right? So see if you look at what's happening with, we've spoken about this before, should have. Instead of should have, right? well, I hate it, but it's common now. It's so common now that when you read it, you then go, that doesn't make sense, because you skip past it because you know what the person made, what the person meant. So it's not a great leap to think that at some point that will just become acceptable. That should have will replace should have. Or you could use either, right? Which is mental because it makes no sense. But eventually, folk would just go, "Fuck, why would any of these sound letters just ditch them?"
Aye, but I know what you mean. But so the question I was going to ask is: are people getting dumber, or is language becoming more inclusive?
That's a good question, John.
And should of and should have. I understand what you're saying about should of, but it's grammatically incorrect, and I need to be a bit of a grammar Nazi about that.
It doesn't make any sense at all. I'm not advocating it.
This is why we need to rail against it, like proper grammar, proper spelling, Longbangers motto.
Longbangers dictionary.
Should we do a dictionary? We'll just set up our own wee language with things that are acceptable. So no duplicate words, and if a word sounds the same for two different things, we need to have a clear differentiator so that folk are absolutely fucking clear.
Yeah.
Every so often I scribble down when I remember the Longbangers lexicon that I said I was going to do, but it's never ever in the same place. It's never in the same notebook. It's like it's just stupid. I don't even know why I'm doing it. I just go, oh, I remember that. I would talk about that. Let's write it down.
Okay, right, well, we'll come back to that at some point. Ray asks, how would you design a kludgy if your arse was reverse mounted? Would urinals become kludgies, and would Armitage Shanks Loyal still have a drink from them? That last bit, I believe, was Rangers fans, weren't it, drinking through the toilets in Seville?
I think so, aye.
So we're designing toilets if you shout out the front. Am I understanding me correctly?
Facing the ball, I think.
Did you?
Is it see when we say that your arsehole's on your front, like whereabout on your front? Is it rather than being on your arse, it's kind of at your navel?
Ah, right. So actually, yeah, the way the question, I'd misread the question. I thought it meant as if you were facing the wrong way. But Raymond's question is if your arse is reverse mounted. So you just, I suppose, swapped your front and back around then.
But lassies have a hole at the front, and they just sit in the pan. So why would you need to?
So no change.
Is there really any change? Like so like based on where your arsehole's located, it's almost pointing straight down, isn't it? Like so there's not really much to be gained.
If you were at the front, it'd maybe stain the bowl a bit more than if it was.
Aye, that's where you would have to. The design change would have to come in. You need to widen the front to avoid that hitting.
I saw something recently, I think, about Dutch toilets, and I'm sure that they have they're almost sort of reversed themselves. I'll need to find a picture because I can't describe it. But if I remember rightly, there's a particular Dutch phrase, I'm sure, that means that if you've had a particularly big shite, it comes up and starts tickling your balls.
The Dutch phrase for it. You have to find this out.
I'll need to find it, honestly. I might go quiet for a few seconds because this might have been a dream.
there's a good chance I'm going to spend the rest of the episode chuckling at myself at the phrase, lasses have a hole at the front.
That's what got you, like, I was watching you.
Right, 150k on Hadlin Hill. Why don't all underpants come in brown? Would solve many issues. It would solve issues, but it's not very nice, is it?
When was the last time you skidded your pants, really? And it's been, I can't remember the last time I've done that.
Nah.
Although I rarely wear white. Do you ever wear white boxers?
No.
If I ever get white boxers for my Christmas, I used to kind of if they come in the set, it's like, nah. Get me in name.
But wouldn't it be brown ones? And it's like you'd feel you've travelled back in time to the 70s, wouldn't you? If somebody presented you with a pair of brown boxers.
Is brown the colour of the 70s? Like I think whenever I think of like cars, like there was definitely brown cars that were kicking about in the 70s. Was it just because of a lack of paint, colours, a lack of imagination.
I had a brown car in the 90s. I don't know if
I think it was just fashion, John.
Like brown cords and that.
I don't know what the 60s would have been like. The 60s were all psychedelic, weren't they? So it's maybe just been like this.
Everyone was too spaced out after the 60s. I mean,
been a pushback
this decade.
Fuck it, brown. That's it, brown.
We all need to calm down a wee bit after the acid. Chill.
Right, still on the underwear theme, TG Willis asks, why do some ankle socks have patterns? Surely your trainers cover the pattern up.
Ankle socks go up above your ankle, don't they? Or like?
I think we're talking trainer socks.
Trainer socks? No, there was no point in that.
I think it's so you can identify them easily when they go in the wash.
I'll match them up.
Aye.
Because you do get a load of them, like one of my daughters has got a load of white ones.
Mm-hmm.
They're just white, plain white. So they all just come back, they all just come in a bundle. You don't know which ones.
I don't think that they necessarily have left or right feet, those wee trainer socks. Just chuck them together.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know about in your house, Colin, but in this house, like it's just me, the missus, and the bairn. The bairn socks are obviously pretty easy to identify, but the wife has got fucking thousands of those wee ankle socks, like the wee trainer socks, and I swear to God, there's no two of them that you can make a pair out of, and they're just everywhere. It's like her hair, and like, see, you ever, I don't know, again, like, I don't know what it's like in your house when like, if you're ever hoovering, but I have to, every so often, get into the hoover and get the bloody scissors out to like undo the fucking hair off the roller.
Aye.
Fuck me.
Aye, we've got that problem in this. There's three, sometimes four women or girls stay in this house for long here. So, aye, constant. That's very good. That's for the Shark Hoover is one of the good gins.
Aye.
And it's like, but it's not got the anti. You can get one now that's got the anti-hair thing on it.
Aye, I didn't believe that. I believe you can get it, but I didn't believe that it works. I reckon it maybe work.
Imagine you were to just say, Colin, you're lying. That attachment's a fraud. You've made that up.
You've made that Hoover accessory up.
Shark doesn't even exist.
You're not catching me out with that again. It's one of the most annoying, and you hear it, do you know, when Hoover's working, and then the tone changes, and you're like, oh, fuck's sake, you care what's coming next.
It switches off.
Oh, does it?
It's usually a fucking earring or something in it, or fucking too much hair on it, or like that. It costs a fucking fortune, that Hoover, man. All we do is fucking
take it to bits.
Aye. But anyway.
Right, Brunswick Bill said, do you think that the Longbangers crew would accept the working conditions of a spaceman? And is attached an article where the headline is Astronauts Forbidden from Masturbating in Space, Engineer Claims.
How long are you in space though? Like, how long's the what's the
how long do you need?
Aye, no, but if you're banned, how long could you go for a ban? Is the question, eh? Like,
do you think it would make it more tempting if this is whatever you do when you're in space, then you're not going out? You'd be thinking you'd probably be first 20 minutes in orbit. Once you've had a wee look at the world, and oh, that's fucking cool. And you're going, nibbed us a bit.
See, the obvious question is like, what happens? Like, do you think there's tissues that they take up into space? And if not, what do they do with the jizz? Like, or does that just float about in zero gravity, just getting into all the instruments?
Well, imagine they opened the window and just let it out, right? But then because it's like so cold or whatever in space and there's nothing to rot it, it survives somehow, floats about, and in a billion years, it accidentally sort of floats into the gravitational pull of another planet somewhere.
What if?
I don't know how, but creates life.
Well, what if that's what created life on Earth? What if there were astronauts from another galaxy light years away, and it's, you know, in all the billions of years that the universe has been about, that some fucker space jizz has landed on Earth, and here we are.
It's been eaten by a fish or something like that, and then it's just evolved.
Because that's basically like the freezing. I don't know if the freezing conditions in space are the same as a fertility clinic, but you're just freezing spunk, aren't you?
I don't know if freezing conditions in space are the same as fertility clinic.
Find it out before you come on. Like, you can't just make statements like that. Google that as well.
I did actually Google the thing about the Dutch toilet. Do you want me to read it out?
Yes, please.
So this is maybe, I think any sentence that starts arguably the most alarming needs to be read out. So arguably the most alarming feature of a water closet is the infamous Dutch toilet bowl. Dutch engineers have designed the bowl itself to contain a plateau set well above the normal water level. To say the least, one must be very comfortable with themselves and all their excrements on the display shelf. Why the Dutch would have such a perverse desire to examine or witness their waste remains a mystery. Perhaps it is the lingering Dutch sentiment of having reclaimed the land from the sea that extends towards this toilet philosophy. By having a plateau set above the water level and having the option of controlling the amount of water to be flushed, the environment might provide temporary comfort in assuring the Dutch that they are still masters of the sea.
So they've got like a water setting depending on the size of the toilet.
I can't. There was a weird thing. I'll see if I can find that as well. But there is a shelf. Like if you Google Dutch toilet, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
Go and ask how you stumbled upon that, John. Right, moving on. Anyway, from what was funny about that is I saw that question come in on Tuesday morning. So in fact, I think the first woke up, and you know when you first pick up your phone, you see a notification. And within a couple of minutes waking up, I was involved in conversation about space wanks, which I did not see as being like a kind of the start to my day. But it was a good start to the day, made me laugh. Anyway, Guinness 2022 said Shortbangers, it appears success-starved It's Coming Home Brigade are saying the Lionesses have now formally ended those years of hurt. With Hibs ladies having won the Scottish Cup several times in the years leading up to 2016, does that apply to Hibs? Asking for Sir David Gray.
Retrospective. Go back and say, oh, stop all these songs earlier.
you all look daft now.
Aye.
It's a nice thought, right, Ray asks, when pole vaulters compete abroad, as they must do a lot, how do they get their poles in the hold? How much would Ryanair charge for a pole that's suitable for vaulting? Other airlines are available, but their replies aren't generally as amusing.
It's interesting. Do you think they have their own pole? Or do you think there's just poles of a certain weight and size that they just like their own loan? Like they just, there's like a bucket of them. Like when you go bowling, and you go, use that one today.
Nah, they have their own one because folk who are good at bowling, they take their own bowling balls.
I thought you said folk that are good at polling. Like no. That's the official name for a pole vault.
A pole vault. just out on the polling. We used to have a guy.
Do you think they unscrew and they like pieces?
Or like a telescope. So they just flick it, like it comes out like a bat and although if it was like that, as soon as they went forcing it, it would just all fold down on itself again.
Aye. So I'm thinking it's maybe like a snooker cue then when you use in 2 or 3 pieces.
I think I'm not sure they would trust it. I think it needs to be one piece. Because it's not as long as an aeroplane anyway, so you could fit it on. I guess I think somebody replied and said aeroplanes have like a special bit in the cargo hold for long items.
I would love to see a pole vault or a pole that's as long as an aeroplane. Because I was looking at the world record. World record for a pole vault is 6.21 meters. Set recently, actually.
Right, what's that in feet?
Oh, I don't know. 6 meters. Is that about? So 2 meters is about
6 foot, isn't it?
13 and a half foot.
No.
I don't know.
Miles it.
Your maths is better than mine. We've established that many times.
6 foot's about 2 meters, eh?
Yes.
Aye.
So 18 foot.
Oh, you're right. Aye.
6 meters.
Why do we even do this? Why do we even go through the math?
Why did you even, just to show you up, I think. It's just like, why be asking John?
I'm good at guesstimating. good at guesstimating, but accuracy, not so much.
It's like when Bob Mortimer's on 9 out of 10 Cats does countdown in the day of the sums. That's what it's like. He's just miles off it. Right, so what we're saying, 18 feet. I reckon how long a plane is. Some small planes wouldn't be able to take a pull on it then, you would think.
So they didn't need to go EasyJet or Ryanair or whoever it was he suggested there.
What's the cost to put a bag in?
Ryanair.
Depends on the size of the bag. Seat. Depends on the size of the bag. It wasn't that. I just done it last week. For a 20 kilo bag, it was like 30 quid or something, 32 quid, something like that.
So that's going to be lighter than the pole, surely. No, heavier than the pole.
I think it depends what the pole's made of, though. What's the pole made? Is it metal or plastic? It bends a bit, eh?
Carbon fibre, yeah.
Aye. This will be light.
How did they get
it? It will be light because they've got to run with it. And like when they're it'll be light.
How did they get it to the event?
Yeah, that's why I think they're just at the event and they're in a fucking corrugated, kind of like one of the metal boxes, kind of like where everybody chucks all their kit, like all the cones and the balls and that going. Just be like a pile of poles.
What I'd love them to start chalking them before they do the run up. Just put a wee bit of chalk in their pocket.
Walk round the thing with
have a wheel. And then up. Aye, there's a whole logistical thing. Like, what do you carry them in? Like, there must be someone who makes pole vault bags.
In a case. Aye. I reckon they fold. I reckon they break into 2 or 3 bits and go into a thing like a pool cue or a snooker cue goes into.
Aye,
because I can't imagine that there's many 18-foot bags kicking about, like long, thin.
All right, Whiskey Craig asks, why do vans with no rear windows have rear view mirrors on the windscreen?
It's a good question. I've wondered that before. Don't know.
So that plumbers can check their teeth in that after they fit that teeth. Make sure there's nothing in it. Michael says, what crisp would go best with gravy?
What kind of gravy?
Beef gravy would have to be,
Beef, you think? Right. So a nice.
How many different gravies do you get?
Chicken, turkey, pork, beef.
Onion.
Really? I didn't realise there was such a selection.
You get a fish gravy, you get a fish stock. I don't know if you get a fish gravy, but beef, a nice thick one now. You want to dip if you got to dip it in.
Is it something with with a strong flavour, or is it something with a milder flavour so you can get a bit of both?
Well, it would need to be something that at least doesn't detract from the flavour of the gravy, but at best complements it.
What about? Did someone suggest haggis already? I think there was maybe some comments on the Twitter thread.
Haggis flavoured crisps with beef gravy.
Aye. Wee bit peppery, wee bit.
Well,
going on there.
On the Twitter thread we had Michael Donaghy said, why have they never made Yorkshire pudding and gravy flavoured crisps yet? So Yorkshire pudding flavoured crisps would have been ideal for it, but they have made them.
Yorkshire pudding's a taste then.
Aye, it does taste a bit like battery.
Aye. Yeah.
McCoy's flame grilled steak, that was Ray Forsyth. Charlie says quavers, so you can scoop the gravy up. But that would be like a prawn cracker in chicken and sweet corn soup, that which is one of the best things. So he's maybe onto something there. Roast chicken walkers, said Jack Banks. Deller said giant beef hula hoops. So beef crisp would be the obvious one.
That's what folk have got. Beef or tomato, because beef and tomato is a thing, isn't it? So tomato flavoured crisps. You still get tomato flavoured crisps.
Mm-hmm.
You see them very often,
Aye.
With tomato, and I think the beef would be my beef crisps, like the flame grilled steak. McCoy's, they're good crisps.
Do you know what would be good? Is a wee bag of Yorkshire puddings to dip in the gravy. Like, why are we trying to reinvent the wheel here with a flavour? Just get the thing that was meant to go in gravy in the first place.
You're saying like a snack-sized bag of pre-made Yorkshire puddings?
Aye, and maybe if someone clever enough can do it, what about a wee bag of roast potatoes? Like maybe if you go to the garage or that, you can stick them in the microwave for a couple of minutes. roast
We could-
tatties in your.
We could do it like a Daily Dunker. Do you know, with the same format with the wee
Yep.
pot of gravy and then the big tray with a mix of tiny wee Yorkshire puddings and roast tatties.
That would sell with a bucket load in Yorkshire. They would go for that.
And outside pubs. That's one of the things, kind of, if you could get it when you were walking home, you'd be like, oh, fuck, I have that. Right, that's another one for Dragon's Den for us.
Yeah.
Can you imagine presenting that? No, hear me out. Dairy Dunk.
Ta-da! 100 grand for 5%. Any questions? Right, Michael Donachie says, what genre of music do you think should be banned from the airwaves? Name and shame your most disliked song.
Genre? What genre?
And then name your most disliked song to get rid of.
Ed Sheeran. Everything by Ed Sheeran. I don't care that he's an artist, but he is a fucking genre all of his own.
Well, he's no, is he? Because he'd be classed as pop or something, would he? So you're getting rid of the all pop music.
I think the genre that Ed Sheeran falls into is generic shite.
Generic shite. I wonder what he does call it now, because I think it is. I don't know if everybody's made that up yet. Classical music's a bit shite, yeah.
Have you ever found that no matter where you are in a building, like you could have no mobile reception on your phone, but you will always get classical radio, crisp.
Do you know what? Right, I'm saying that a lot of folk find that relaxing, and that's fair enough. You know what? I would. It's like heavy rock.
The really heavy
like
stuff.
When the boys come out and just shout and scream, like there's just no sort of words.
You mean like roaring down the mic, like growling down the mic? Aye, I could get on board with that.
Aye, that heavy rock, or if that's what it's called, but that kind of stuff. I'm not talking about like Guns N' Roses and maybe one step away from that. You know, like but they've got some songs that do that, but the proper stuff, like the fucking get rid of that shit. There
was somebody put a clip on Twitter, some Glaswegian guys. So there are balaclavas. One of them had a Celtic top that had the Buckfast out, and they were trying to do right. What's it? There's like rap music. It's no rap, but it's like like urban, and it's all about beating folk up or fucking killing folk and all that. I can't remember the name of it. It's like grime, but it's no grime. It's like an evolution of that. It was fucking. It was worse because it was Glaswegians doing it, and they were trying to sound like West London black gangsters, right? Like that. That's kind of what they were trying to sound like, and they sounded fucking ridiculous. It was hilarious, but they can't make out the words, and they're the same words like blip, 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 blip. What the fuck are you on about, you fucking idiots? Like that for me, just like the whole thing, the whole scene, everything about it, just go fuck off.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to miss that. Nobody. It's not an art. It's fuck all. It's shite. So that's the one that I would get rid of. Anyway, that was the last question for the night. So what have we taken away from this evening's episode? We have taken away that we don't know if space is like a maternity hospital.
Fertility clinic.
Fertility clinic. Sorry, John. We've invented dairy dunkers with Yorkshire puddings and roast tatties and gravy, and girls have a hole at the front as well.
Correct. Aye, I think that's a good one. Good takeaways.
Is that QI for idiots? By idiots, whatever. Right, thanks for listening. If you want to hear more, sign up at https longbangers.hubwave.net. £3 a month, you'll get an extra Shortbangers episode every week, probably a bit longer than this one as well. If you've not heard your question, it might be on that one, or like I said at the start, stay tuned, we'll get to it eventually. Thanks for listening, we'll see you next time.
Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee.